Oh girl, it's Snatch Game. You better tighten it up. Your celebrity impressions, that is. Oh god. Woo! Shut up. Hi everybody, welcome back to the Kiki. I'm Chris, and this is where we all get together and throw some shade and read these bitches for filth from RuPaul's Drag Race, Season 7, Episode 7! Can you believe it? We are 7 episodes in. Like, we're past the halfway mark now, right? Like, I don't know when it is, but I'm sure we've passed it now. Girl, it's almost over! What? But honey, this episode, lots of twists and turns to keep the ball rolling, keep you on your toes, and especially since your toes are probably a bit blistered because you've been working them high heels for 6.5 hours doing jump splits and all that kind of stuff, and you've got like blisters and corns. Pop the corns, feed the children. Or don't, because that is absolutely disgusting. So the girls come back into the workroom after Candy Ho has been eliminated, and Kaja's walking in. She's like now carrying the shark, and am I the only one thinking, fish out of water? Womp womp. Sorry. They're all kikiing and chatting, and Jaden starts going on about how much she wanted to stay, and she's like, I'm not going anywhere. No ma'am, no Pam, no ham, no cauliflower, no cheese, no pine nuts, no ice cream, no pizza, no Cheez-Its, no Doritos, no olives, no oregano, no magazines, no Marmite, no ketchup, no chips. You get the idea. Like, she was literally listing her whole shopping list again. And I'm like, girl, bitch be hungry. Max is a bit pissed off because Michelle keeps reading him for having grey hair, and he's like, but it's my thing, but whatever. So he's gone to the conclusion that he's going to wear a different hair colour this week and then go right back to it. Which is fair enough, you know, it's a good choice. Just be like, do it once, like Sharon Needles did with, you know, a girly look. Do it once and then don't do it again, like, you're good. And oh my god, like, has to be mentioned, Violet reading Kennedy's Death Becomes Her look as Tony the Tiger on crack. Yes god, yes god. Served it, turned it, worked it, read it, filthed it, shaded it. Ooh! So then the next day, and the girls are all back in, you know, regular clothing and stuff, and they're having a kiki, and then suddenly, like, you know, they hear the, woo, girl, she done already done her hair, sis, which is a little bit trickier to say than, ooh, you got she-mail, but there we go, let's not get into that discussion, shall we? So Rue's on there chatting away, and then Bianca Del Rio makes a little cameo, and I'm like, hey Gwen! And like, it is a bit weird to see, because like, obviously they had Alaska on, like in the early part of the season, like the first episode, but you don't really see much of previous queens in the current season, unless you're Shangela, of course. But it was just a bit sort of interesting and fun to see the previous winner, and it kind of reminds you that only, you know, a year ago, less than a year ago, you know, we were watching that series, and it's almost like we've all forgotten it, and it was sort of just like sweet. I thought it was a nice little moment. It was just nice to sort of think, you know, only 12 months previously, she was there doing her thing, and now look at her. Look at her! Do you get the reference? If you don't, you're missing out, honey. Clocked it. So then Rue comes in, and there's this build-up, and he's really working them and sort of not giving anything away, because there's no mini challenge this week. That's the first clue. And he's saying, we've had enough of seeing what you really are. We want to see what else you can do, or who else you can do. And it's like, we know what's coming, girl. We know what's coming. Snatch Game! Yes, bitch, yes, 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 yes. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Woo! Shut up. Snatch Game is the most eagerly anticipated episode of all the seasons. Everyone knows it's coming. Everyone knows that there's going to be a couple of really, really funny things in it. And it's just so great to see the queens, you know, impersonating someone from pop culture and hopefully doing it justice. And in previous seasons, there have been a lot of duds. You may have noticed that, you know, in previous seasons, they were bringing it forward and forward each time to try and, I think, sort of give more chance that there'll be someone good in the panel. You know, like, was it last year? There was like 11 of them or something, or 10 of them doing it. It was like a lot of people. The problem was, though, that they couldn't give enough airtime to all of them, so then it didn't make it as funny. So what they've done this year is pushed it back a little bit. And there's only 8. And I think, I could be wrong, but I think that's the least amount of queens that have ever done Snatch Game. I can't remember the season 2 one, that might have been 9. But either way, 8 is, I think, at least the joint lowest, if not the lowest. Which I suppose was a bit of a gamble on, you know, Drag Race's part. But I think it was good to sort of showcase each one more individually and hopefully get some more stronger personalities out of the ones that have stayed because they've proven their worth. Do you know what I'm saying? I feel like I've rambled a bit, but I think you get the idea. So once Ru has announced that it is Snatch Game that they're going to be doing today, he disappears and then the girls are left to their own devices to get ready. And immediately everyone is intrigued to know what they're all going to do. And Violet perks up going, I'm going to do Donatella Versace. And straight away Miss Fame's going, no, I'm doing Donatella Versace. And I'm sat there going, no, wait, I'm doing Donatella Versace. Well, maybe not, but I just wanted to get involved. Does it help that I was listening to Donatella by Lady Gaga earlier? I just want to be included. She doesn't even go here. And I do believe that this is the first time ever that this has happened, at least that they've shown, where 2 drag queens have wanted to do the same character. And so it's kind of uncharted territory, and they have a bit of a conflab, and they're sort of going, well, I want to do it, no, I want to do it, I haven't got a backup, well, I don't want. But Miss Fame takes the moral high ground and decides to change her look because she has a backup and Violet doesn't. So Miss Fame decides to do Teresa Caputo, the Long Island's medium. I have no idea who she is, but she sounded quite funny. So anyway, she's like, you know, teasing her wig, putting in some rollers, that kind of shit. And RuPaul comes over like, so who are you doing? He's like, I'm going to do Teresa Caputo, the Long Island's medium. But Miss Fame also says that about the whole Donatella Versace thing. And Ru goes, well, it's one thing being kind and, you know, letting the other do what they want, but it's a whole other thing winning. And I'm like, oh girl, do you need a spoon? Because you stirring that shit up. Like, effectively, Ru was saying, do Donatella Versace. I don't care if there's 2 Donatellas in this Snatch Game. If you're the best one, then you're gonna win. Although, you know, obviously, if you're not the good one, you're gonna go home. But, yeah, it was sort of an interesting situation. And I think that Ru was so kind of like, just do it, is fun. And Miss Fame turned around and said, okay, well, if you're okay with me doing it, then I will do it. I will do Versace. And so obviously Violet is getting like really annoyed and all that kind of crap. While all that's going on, Kennedy is having an issue. She can't decide what to do. And Ginger and Katya are there sort of to give her a hand. They're saying, what you got, girl? What choices have you got? And she's like, well, I've either got Sweet Brown, which she kind of already did in the music videos, you know, where she did, ain't nobody got time for that. You know, she's already used like the most effective line, so then it would be a little bit like copying. But her other option is to do Little Richard, and you can hear the thuds from Katya and Ginger's jaws hitting the floor, because they're like, no, you can't do that, that's a boy, it's boy drag, you can't do that. And Kennedy's like, no, but he is basically a drag queen, but he just stays as a boy. And they're like, you can't do it, girl, you can't do it. They're really trying to make her do Sweet Brown. You can see that she's really torn. Then RuPaul goes over to see Violet Chachki and says that he knows that she's doing Donatella Versace, and he asks to see her impression, and it's really not very funny. Like, it's a decent accent, but it's not funny. And the first thing out of Violet's mouth is, well, I think I've got a better look. And Ru is immediately in like, bitch, it's not about the look. Who else have you got as backup? And he's gone, well, like, I've got an Alyssa Edwards. And he's like, okay, show me your Alyssa. And Violet pulls out this hilarious Alyssa. And I was like, girl, that's funny. Ru was laughing straight away. And so he's like, I think you should switch. And I think it's quite interesting, though, how quickly Violet was able to pull out an Alyssa Edwards when she's like, oh, I haven't got a backup. I've been doing a Donatella for 8 months as practice. But like, okay, you pulled out an Alyssa Edwards out of nowhere. Anyway. So off the back of that, Violet is now reconsidering and decides to do Alyssa Edwards, whereas Fame is now deciding to do Donatella Versace. So everything's kind of gone a bit weird and messed up. But the thing that I did notice, and I think it is worth highlighting, that there's been a lot of like controversy this season around, you know, other stuff like editing and certain choices. And, you know, I'll go into that in a bit, actually. There is something I wanted to mention about editing. But I do think that this moment kind of shows that Ru has their best interests at heart, because it would be so easy for Ru to have said to Miss Fame, I want you to do Donatella Versace, and then say nothing to Violet, so then there would be 2 Donatellas and have this whole kind of shade fest going on, because that would make great TV. But the fact that he then went to Violet and said, I want to see something else that you've got because I'm not feeling this, and then find it funny and then suggest that she do that, I think says a lot about Ru's position still in the competition. I think that this does show that she's still got the Queen's best interests at heart while still trying to do an exciting competition. But there we go. That's just a little side thought that I had when I was watching it. I'm trying to be fair. When Ru is talking to Katya, it's revealed that Katya has some sort of anxiety issues. She gets very anxious over small things, and she's called out for not doing her Russian shtick and her Russian character more. Which I was actually, I picked up on fairly quickly. I think I've mentioned it in previous Kikis. I was like, I want to see more of her Russian stuff. Like, she's funny. It's like her strongest thing, and she wasn't doing it. And then we now understand why, she has these anxiety issues and she doesn't want to fail. And it's the thing that she thinks she's good at, like the only thing that she thinks she's good at. And this sort of moment is the start of what builds up over the next sort of 24 hours for her. And Ru chats to Kennedy, and Kennedy's like, I'm either going to do Sweet Brown or Lil Richard. And Ru is clearly not impressed. Like, he's not feeling it. He's like, He's like, well, I'm not going to say don't do Lil Richard, but I'm not going to say do Lil Richard. He was like really sketchy about it, but you could tell he was like, don't do Lil Richard, without actually saying it. So then we get to Snatch Game, and the two celebrity guest panelists, who are actually also the celebrity guest judges, are Michael Urie, hello, and Tamar Braxton, hello. And this is the second time that we've seen Tamar on Snatch Game. Once by Roxy Andrews, of course, and then obviously got the real one. But Tamar, girl, can we talk? Can we talk? You did not say, get your life, like once. Like, I don't even know if that is like your catchphrase, but it is now because of Roxy, and you should have done that. You should have been like, where my people at? Where my people at? You should have totally like gone for it, girl. Get your life. So let's do a quick rundown of the queens and their looks and my immediate thoughts of their overall performance. Sharon Needles, I loved the look. The look was on point. The voice was kind of there as well. The laugh was pretty good. That whole kind of I had practiced that to make it better. Because I can do a fairly mean Sharon Needles, but I've just tried doing it and that didn't work. But yeah, the personality was not there at all, nor was the charisma of Sharon Needles. It was just the look, and that was kind of it. With a bit of the voice. And I'm like, Even the answers weren't that funny. Raven Simone, decent look. The voice I don't think was really doing it for me. The jokes weren't all that. That whole kind of prediction thing, yeah, as Michelle said, it was cute, a couple of times, but to do it every time is a bit repetitive. It just wasn't that funny. Susie Orman, I really enjoyed this from Katya. I thought it was very, very funny. I have absolutely no idea who she is. But either way, I was chuckling away because it was just a good laugh. So I don't even know if there was anything that was like, relatable to the actual person. But either way, I was like, this is funny. So yeah, holla. Alyssa Edwards, oh my God. Considering Violet said she had no backup, she pulled that look out of somewhere. That was hilarious. That look was on point. Her chin was firmly put in her neck that whole time. She was like giving me Alyssa Edwards tea. Her voice was pretty good. The look was everything. The answers were very, very funny. Especially when Ru was like, what is your secret? Which she posed to Alyssa and she was like, Violet is just sat there going, I'm sitting on it. And I'm like, yes, girl, yes. That was what I wanted to hear Alyssa say the first time, but like, she ain't got a sense of humour. She's funny, she just don't realise how funny she is. Big Ange was hilarious. The look was so funny. It was so exaggerated. That whole thing, I mean, I don't really know much about Big Ange at all. I've seen like a snippet, but it was funny. The voice was everything. I was like, bravo, Pearl, bravo, keep doing that. Girl. It's nice to actually see Pearl kind of coming out of her shell. But yeah, she totally turned it. She was really funny, and her improv was really, really good, and her banter was everything. So yeah, well done. Donatella Versace by Miss Fame was nothing to write home about, really. She wasn't that funny. The accent was completely wrong, and I think I would have taken it further. Like, I think, obviously Donatella is very kind of, sophisticated and that kind of thing, but I would probably want to like go a bit crazy and every answer would be something along the lines of pizza. I don't know, just really highlight the Italian in her. When they're answering a question, just be like, Ah, molto bene, pizzeria, televisione, buongiorno, come state? Dalla starci, You know, that kind of thing might be funny. Maybe a little inappropriate, but isn't that the funniest thing? Although the look of Donatella was everything. I was looking, I was like, God, that's Versace. Down. Little Richard was everything life-giving. Life-giving. I know there's probably going to be a lot of people out there that disagree with the choice of doing boy drag, but I don't see a huge problem with it if it's done right. If you're just a boy dressing up as a boy but putting on, like, eyelashes, then, you know, it's not full drag. But I thought this Little Richard was kind of probably the furthest you could go without it just being boy. You know, there was eyelashes, there was big sparkly shoulder pads, there was like a weave going on, there was lip gloss, there was all these kind of mannerisms and stuff. I think anything else might be a bit too near the mark or too over the line into just boy. But the look was on point, the voice was everything, the jokes were hilarious, the mannerisms, just everything was so funny, and I did not expect that kind of risk from Kennedy, and I did not expect that kind of execution from Kennedy. She has completely shown herself to be the dark horse of this competition with that performance. That, you know, yes, she's a pageant queen, but she don't mind getting down and dirty, as she said on the runway. It was just so funny, because Little Richard is so funny, and for her to completely emulate him is just brilliant. Genius. Woo! Shut up. And Adele, oh my God, right. Adele was very funny. Very funny. I really enjoyed Adele. Her accent wasn't quite right. I mean, sometimes it was quite right. And then other times it went into this really weird thing where she sounded like a friend of mine, like from the country. And I was just like, but Adele's from London. And she's a little bit more harsh than this typical kind of, oh, well, absolutely, I'm from London. And, you know, my name's Emily and I'm from Friends and I'm marrying Ross. You know, British people don't really talk like that, but Ginger was on point a couple of times with the accent, but she could have been a bit harsher, I think, in the intonation, but she still did a great job. She looked right. Her quips were very funny. Yeah, there was a lot going on with her, and it was so good, so good. So for me, Snatch Game was perhaps the best Snatch Game we have ever had in Drag Race history. I was howling. I was basically crying with laughter just at the introductions. They hadn't even asked a single question yet, and I was crying with tears. It was brilliant. Absolute genius. As I said, I think one of the best, if not the best, that there ever has been, and the bar is very much planted now of what is to be expected from queens. My biggest gripe with it actually this year was that it simply wasn't long enough. I don't even know how long it was, but it needs to be like 30 minutes alone. If it's a good Snatch Game, make it the whole damn episode, I don't care. That was hilarious. But some highlights from Snatch Game this year. We have Alyssa Edwards' nail flying off. Don't know if any of you clocked that, but when they were introducing Alyssa, she slammed her hands on the table and one of the little nails just went ping, woo, onto the other side of the studio. If you haven't seen it, go back, rewind, go find it, because it's so funny. It's still got life of its own. Girl, you need some better adhesive. I also really enjoyed the bit where Donatella was sniffing the pens. Don't know if you picked up on that, but she sat there like, you know, getting a whiff, giving a life, all that kind of stuff, you know, keeping it going. You know, the vodka just ain't cutting it these days, nor is the caffeine. You need something a little bit stronger. So she's gone onto the marker pens, but, you know. When Adele turned around to Susie Orman and just went, I love you, Justin Bieber, died. So funny. I mean, it was such a throwaway comment, but it was just absolute genius. So funny. And obviously, the best part of the whole Snatch Game was just Kennedy sat there every now and then just going, woo! Shut up. I think that might be my new phrase. So yes, I thoroughly enjoyed Snatch Game. What did you think? Make sure you comment below. But I would like to know, if you were to do Snatch Game, who would you do and why? Personally, I think I would probably do the Queen of England, because I just think it'd be quite funny. In my head, sort of portray this, you know, the ultimate queen of queens when you're surrounded by drag queens and you have the ultimate queen. I think it would be quite funny, and then sort of throw into the mix her accent and her mannerisms. Very much, you know, my husband and I, my husband and I. So yes, I would like to know, who would you be and why if you were to do Snatch Game? Comment me below. So then the next day comes and the girls are getting ready for their runway, and Katya is having a bit of a moment. She's having a bit of a breakdown, and she decides to pull Miss Fame over for a quick chat. And it's revealed that Katya has been battling, drinking problems for a while, and she's been sober for 18 months. And she knows that Miss Fame has been having some similar problems herself. She's been sober for 9 years, I believe. And so she just wants to have some support about it all. And she sort of really opened up about her issues and how she's struggling without her support network. And it was a very touching moment and a very endearing moment, because I think we can all relate to Katya at some point on some level, whether it's about anxiety or whether it's about, certain problems, or whether you just need the support network, or whether you don't love yourself, or whatever it is. We've all been in those situations at some point, and for her to sort of reveal how all-consuming it is for her when she presents this, incredible front. Yeah, it was just a very sweet moment, and it was lovely that Katya and Fame could share that, and that it was put on screen and it was edited so nicely. So Miss Fame helped Katya build herself back up and, reassured her that she's not alone. And then they have a bit of a laugh about it, and then they sort of go on and do their thing. So it was just really nice. It made me really warm to them even more. So yeah, that was lovely. So the runway theme is leather and lace. And this is actually the runway where we now have seen everything that the trailer from the, months ago has shown. The last 2, I believe, outfits that were left were shown in this episode. So there is nothing left to show apart from one comment from one queen that has departed. So on the main stage, we've got Elvis Presley, not Presley, Presley, the drag queen camp version of Elvis Presley, the one that didn't get the gig in Las Vegas. We've got Katya looking a bit like Madonna, preempting it. She's got the cape. No capes! We've got Miss Kennedy Ross, or Miss Diana Davenport. Pick one, because it ain't Kennedy Davenport, it's Diana Ross. Oh my god, I was living for Violet's BDSM look, inspired by the 40s. I just thought it was really well put together and so elegant. Am I the only one there thinking BDSM, 40s, shades of grey? Ting! We also have the Merry Widow, who was absolutely flawless. That was a gorgeous look, and I loved the whole story that came with that. It was very, very clever, very well acted, and I totally bought into it. Beautiful, and I love the little headpiece. Oof, life. Jaden, honey, I love you. I do, but that top. Did you borrow Kennedy's Death Becomes Her outfit and then put a black skirt on under it? No. Was not feeling this look, girl. It was... No. Didn't like it. Soz. The skirt was cute, but the top, no. Pearl... It was a cute outfit. Gotta give her it. It was cute, but I feel like I've seen that before. It was very similar to her Jet Set Eleganza. It was very similar to her tanning thing. Don't get me wrong. I liked the outfit, but it does seem a bit familiar. It's a little bit kind of edgy Stepford housewife, wasp, living on Fifth Avenue, that kind of thing. Like if Courtney Love went to the Hamptons. That's kind of the vibe I was getting. But, it's a cute outfit, but I just felt like I'd sort of seen it before. Miss Fame was stunning. New paint, new silhouette, new outfit. Beautiful. That was a really gorgeous look. Stunning. Beautiful. Yes. God. So Violet and Miss Pearl are safe, and they get to go backstage one-on-one for some Kiki action in Untucked, whilst the rest of the girls get the critiques. Firstly, let's get it out of the way. Tamar Braxton, giving me life. Thickums and hilarical. I'm so using those in my life. Get your life! No, wait, she didn't say that one. Ginger and Kennedy are heavily praised. Miss Fame is given a few pointers as to what kind of she needs to do to improve a little bit, to stand out a bit more. Katya is also praised for her crazy transition from, Susie Orman to Xenia Goddess on the runway. Jaden is read for her performance. And Max, this is where it gets a little interesting. Max is being given a little bit of a critique from Michelle. And all of a sudden, Max is getting short of breath. He has to take his corset off. He needs to stop filming. He apologizes. People come in to help, give him some water. And he's sat on the stairs singing a song, being all very theatrical and over the top. And everyone else is kind of looking like, what? And the narration from the other queens, the commentaries are all kind of, oh, here we go again. Is this strategy? Is this not? Blah, 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 blah. All this kind of stuff coming out. And it's a bit of an awkward moment to watch. You know, it kind of breaks the illusion of the show and that kind of thing. But, and this is where I have a big but, because I've been doing my squats. No, I'm kidding, but I do need to do more squats. I have an issue. Basically, Max has taken to Twitter and announced that actually what was portrayed was not how it went down. And he took the elimination graciously, but disagreed with the way that he was being portrayed. And that portrayal, which was effectively unnecessary. Because he looked a bit of a fool there. But what seemed to go down, in fact, was that Max took the critique. That was fine. They moved on to another queen. And that was when Max had his problems with his corset. It seems that they were already on a break or something along those lines. And he decided to take his corset off. The cameras were still running. And they filmed it all. So he took his corset off. They helped him, got him some water, that kind of thing. And he sat on the stairs for a while. Then, apparently, Ru asked him to sing a song. I think it was supposed to be Over the Rainbow. And he decided to do a different one. And that was why he said, oh, I'm sorry, I took advantage of the moment to do his own song. And then once Max was feeling better, put the corset back on, and they resumed filming as if nothing had happened. Because obviously there's a lot of stopping and starting going on, as Willem has previously said, as a lot of the queens have previously sort of talked about. So if what Max says is true, and that all of that was taken completely out of context and edited in a way in which to make him look really awkward and weird and a fool, it makes me wonder, why did they do it? Why was it edited that way? Because I don't think that's right and I don't think it's fair. If it actually was as it went down and Max was being a bit difficult, a bit of a bitch when he's getting his critique and he wanted to throw attention off of him, yeah, okay, fine, leave it in. But if that was for something completely different when they were on a break and they are using that moment to make him look bad, I don't think that's fair. And I can understand why Max is very upset, and I can understand why a lot of the fans are probably upset, because you don't want to see your favourite queen being made to look like a fool, whether it's true or not. But if that is not what happened, there's no need to do things that way. And that has left a bit of a bitter taste in my mouth. As I say, I know the show edits in funny ways, and, you know, for creating an air of, you know, awkward silence in Untucked is one thing, but to completely humiliate a queen unnecessarily, I think is crossing a line. It just depends on what the truth is. But as with everything, there's three sides to every story. There's one side, the other side, and then the truth in the middle. But if what Max says is true, that is not good, that it was edited that way. So the queens disappear, the judges have their Kiki, their chat, they deliberate, the girls come back, and it's announced that Kennedy and Ginger are both, in fact, the winners of this challenge. It's a tie. And then it's revealed that Max and Jaden are both in the bottom two, which isn't overly a surprise, although Miss Fame, again, was very, very close to falling down there herself. And surprisingly, they've missed a trick here. I thought the song should have been Lace and Leather from Britney Spears, considering the runway theme, but they went with something else. I can't remember what it was. Would I lie? Something like that. I don't even know. I wasn't really paying that much attention to what it was called. But the lip sync isn't that strong. Neither of them really. Jaden is a bit more high energy. I think Max is doing a good job with getting the lip sync out, you know, the actual words and stuff, but he's not really doing a whole lot. And I was always intrigued to see what Max would do on stage. So Jaden does a lot of dancing, it's a lot more high energy, and the song comes to an end, and it's revealed that Jaden is the one that has won the lip sync. She gets to stay, and Max is the one that gets to go home. I say gets to go home, has to go home. And you can see that she's quite upset and she's very frustrated. And in Untucked, you see how frustrated she is in the build-up and afterwards, that she's gone home, and especially at Snatch Game, which is not the one that she thought would trip her up. I have to admit, I was a little surprised, although I do think that Jaden's lip sync was slightly better. I don't think it was miles in front of Max's, and I genuinely thought that since Jaden was in the bottom two last week and has basically been safe the entire show, kind of pulling a Jade Jolie, and Max has 2 wins under her belt, I kind of thought that they would let Max stay. And I know it basically comes down to the fact of whether Max's Sharon Needles was so bad that the 2 wins and fabulous looks couldn't make up for it against someone that has not won and has been safe and was in the bottom two the previous week. Personally, I don't think her shower needles was bad enough to send her home. I actually thought that RuPaul was going to save both because I don't really think it was Max's time to go. I wasn't sure if she'd win. I thought she might get to the top 3 because honestly, I didn't think Max would ever fall into the bottom 2. I'm not like butthurt over this. I'm not kind of, you know, like a huge Max fangirl. I love Max. I think her look is fantastic and her aesthetic is great. Her outlook is wonderful. Her personality is just so lovely and classy. I was just a little surprised that she was the one that was sent home over Jaden. And I love Jaden. Like, Jaden is so funny. She really makes me laugh. But I feel that we have seen much more diversity from Max. And I do think that it may have been another wrong call. You know, there's been a couple of really questionable decisions this series. And I know that in the trailer, Ru's like, you think you've seen it before, you have no idea kind of stuff. But I just think that Max maybe had a little more to give. As I say, I love Jaden and I don't want people to think that I'm ragging on her. I just think when you look at the two, when you look at the statistics, was Max's shower needles that bad that all the previous 6 weeks' work couldn't make up for it? Not sure. You know, it basically comes down to whether you think every lip sync should be judged individually, you know, without outside influence, or whether you can actually bring into the idea how many times they've lip synced before, you know, how well have they done in previous challenges, have they won previous challenges, what have they turned out, what are they doing, do we expect any more from them? Yeah, I'm a bit questioning. I don't think Max's time was now. Yeah, another questionable decision there from RuPaul, but there we go, what's done is done. Or is it done? So after Max has been eliminated and has sashayed away, Ru announces that he has this horrible feeling that he has made a terrible mistake and has sent a queen home too soon. But he's not sure which one. Basically, they're doing season 3 and 4. They're bringing back a queen. From one that was previously eliminated, and it goes all the way from Tempest du Jour up to and including Max. So which one is he going to bring back? And that is the real cliffhanger of this episode, and all the queens are just looking a bit, ooh, bugger. It's not the last 7 queens now. There's 7 now, but come the next day, it's gonna be 8. Who is coming back? There's a lot of people thinking it's going to be one person. There's a lot of people thinking it's going to be someone else. Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? I have an inkling who I think it will be, but I'm a bit torn. It will be very interesting to see who's back next week. If you ask me who I want to see back, I want to see Mariah Balenciaga back. Let's get Mariah back. I want her back. She was everything. Bring her back. Do it. Do it. Like, bring her back. I know she's season 3. She's waited 4 years. Let her come back. She's been waiting there. She's like waiting for a chance to get back. Come on, bring back Mariah. She was fabulous. Give her another chance. She was cool. Also, I'm taking odds at 5-1 that it's going to be Shangela. And there's also odds at 10-1 that they're going to bring Raven back. And she's going to come runner-up again. Too shady? I'm sorry. I love Raven. Raven is like my Biffy. Like, me and Raven are like that. We've never met, but we're obviously like that. Actually, here's an interesting question for you while we're here. Before I log off. If you could bring back one queen, as they're going to, for this season, but it had to be from a previous season, who would you pick to put into this season and why? I want to see that, and I also want to see who would you do for Snatch Game and why. So that is everything. Thank you so much for joining me again this week for the Kiki. I hope you've enjoyed it. I have had a right ball making this one. I hope it's very fun and fun-filled and fun. Did you guess that I wanted it to be fun? So yes, but I thought it was a great episode and I have very much enjoyed kikiing with you guys this week, as I always do, because you're fabulous. You are what? Sickening, bitch. But yes, don't forget to leave me your comments below about things, bits and bobs. What did you think? What's going through your heads? Come on, let's get this conversation started. Don't forget to drop me a thumbs up down there somewhere. Whatever. Also, there's a subscribe button down there. If you have not hit that already, please do hit that for me, because then you can welcome into the family, and we're all friends here, so it'd be really good to have you. So like, come into the hug family. Like, we're all fabulous, and yeah. So you know what to do. And also, I'm on Twitter at Chris Says It, and I'm also on Instagram at the same username. So find me on there for more fabulous updates. But until next time, I will see you guys soon. Take care, be good, be safe, keep out of trouble. Oh, and obviously, stay fierce, girl, all day long. See you guys later. Take care. Love you. Bye. Mwah. Woo. Shut up.